The galaxy was full of noise. Thousands of planets sent signals, songs, and news into the endless dark. Empires shouted their power. Merchants sent trade routes, and explorers marked new maps. But among all those voices, one world had gone quiet. Earth. For a long time, Earth had been small in the eyes of the galaxy. Many alien empires saw it as backward, a planet where humans struggled just to survive their own wars. Reports described humans as fragile, short-lived, and poorly armed. The great powers laughed whenever Earth was mentioned in their councils. To them, humans were nothing but a forgotten people on a forgotten world. Yet in the shadows of history, there were strange records. Old archives spoke of battles where human fleets fought like predators, appearing without warning and destroying enemies with merciless speed. Some fragments described entire star systems that fell silent after humans passed through, but the records were unclear, broken, almost erased. Many called them myths, nothing more than stories made by frightened witnesses. In the Grand Council of Orion, the alien leaders gathered once more. Holograms of proud emperors and warlords filled the chamber. They discussed trade, borders, and possible wars. At the end of the meeting, one elder brought up Earth. "Humans have stopped sending signals," he said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "No trade, no calls, no messages. Their planet is silent," the chamber laughed. A golden-scaled ruler waved his claw. "Humans are weak. Perhaps they destroyed themselves again. Their wars burn fast like fire in dry grass." Another leader, a queen with silver eyes, smiled coldly. "Or perhaps they finally realized they are too small for the galaxy. Silence is the best thing they can offer us." But not all were laughing. One figure, a shadowed admiral from the Rim worlds, leaned forward. "Do not forget the old records," he said. "Do not forget the myths. The last time humans went silent, entire fleets vanished." The chamber grew tense for a moment, but then the laughter returned louder than before. The council ended. No one wanted to waste time fearing Earth. But far from the council, rumors spread. Traders whispered that scouts near Earth had gone missing. A merchant ship swore it saw giant dark shapes moving beyond the asteroid belt. But its report was dismissed. Refugees from nearby systems spoke of shadows in the void, following their ships before vanishing into the dark. None of it was proven. None of it was trusted. On Earth itself, no signals left the atmosphere. Radio waves stopped. Lights in orbit turned off. Satellites went dark. To outsiders, the planet looked abandoned. But deep below the oceans, under mountains, and in secret stations across the solar system, humanity was not silent out of weakness. They were preparing. The leaders of Earth had watched the galaxy for centuries. They had studied the empires, their weapons, and their arrogance. Humans had hidden their strength, building in secret, waiting for the moment when they would no longer be mocked. For generations, Earth had trained soldiers and built fleets in silence. One night, a small alien scout ship passed near Jupiter. The pilot recorded strange readings. Massive energy spikes, the kind only war fleets produced. Before he could send the report, his signal cut out. His ship never returned. Only fragments of his last message reached his homeworld. The final words were chilling. "They are awake." In the following weeks, more scouts disappeared. Fleets sent to investigate never came back. Survivors who managed to escape spoke of warships unlike anything seen before. Black hulls that swallowed starlight, weapons that bent gravity itself, and human fleets that moved like hunters. But still, the galaxy laughed. They called these stories lies created by frightened scouts. No one wanted to believe that Earth, the forgotten planet, had become a predator once more. Yet, in the deepest parts of the galaxy, some remembered. Old generals who had fought near Earth long ago trembled when they heard the rumors. They remembered the silence before the storm, the quiet that always came before human fleets appeared. And now, Earth was silent again. The galaxy did not yet understand. Silence was not weakness. Silence was warning, for humanity had held back its true power for centuries, and soon the stars themselves would burn with their return. The gathering storm. The silence of Earth began to spread like a shadow across the galaxy. What first seemed like a small matter soon grew into fear. More scouts sent toward the solar system failed to return. Some ships vanished near the asteroid belt, others near Saturn's rings. Every empire had their own explanation. Some said pirates were responsible. Some claimed natural storms of radiation. Others blamed technical failures. But deep inside, many leaders felt the truth they did not want to say. Earth was doing this. In the border colonies, strange stories were whispered. A freight convoy spoke of being followed by silent ships with no markings. The shapes did not attack, only drifted behind like wolves testing prey. One night, a patrol from the Dralax Empire reported a chilling encounter. Their captain described enormous vessels, larger than any known battleships, that carried no lights and no flags. They moved without sound, without broadcast, like shadows in space. Before the patrol could lock weapons, the human ships vanished. The captain returned shaken. "They are watching us," he told his leaders. "They do not need to fight yet. They are learning." His report was dismissed as fear-driven imagination. The Dralax Council laughed at him and stripped his rank. But within a month, the same empire lost an entire fleet near Neptune. No distress calls, no survivors, only silence. The galaxy started to argue. Some rulers demanded immediate war against Earth, but others refused. "Why waste fleets on a weak planet?" they said. "We have real enemies, stronger threats." Pride blinded them. Their arrogance told them humans could never rise so high. Yet the galaxy's edges began to feel different. Old records once hidden in archives resurfaced. Ancient battle logs written by dying admirals told of humans appearing from nowhere, striking like storms, and then vanishing before counterattack. A soldier of the past had written, "They fight as if war is in their blood. Not for conquest, not for survival, but as if destruction itself is their art." These old words returned to haunt the new leaders, but many still refused to believe. In the rim worlds, refugees arrived in broken ships. They spoke of colonies burned by weapons no one had ever seen. Their stories painted terrible images. Oceans boiled in minutes. Cities erased by beams that bent gravity. Planets left cracked like broken stone. The refugees begged for protection, but the larger empires ignored them. "Lies," they said. "No one has that power, but someone did. Earth did." In hidden chambers beneath Earth's mountains, the command of humanity observed the galaxy's reaction. They saw how the empires argued instead of uniting. They knew the time was close. "They will not prepare," said a human commander, his voice calm. "They are too proud. When we strike, they will still be laughing." Across the solar system, the signs of war grew stronger. Massive shipyards hidden behind Jupiter's storms built fleets in silence. Deep under Mars, hangars opened where war machines waited, black as night. Swarms of drones floated beyond Pluto, invisible to sensors, waiting for orders. But to the galaxy, Earth still appeared empty, quiet, forgotten. And then, something happened that no one could ignore. A trading station near Proxima Centauri sent a desperate distress call. Unknown fleet approaching. Thousands of signatures. No flags, no signals. The transmission cut off. When another ship reached the station, nothing remained. The station was gone, its remains drifting in cold silence. Fear spread faster than ever before. The smaller empires panicked first. They begged the great powers to act, but the great powers argued. Some claimed the attack was done by rebels. Others accused rival empires. None wanted to admit the possibility that Earth had returned with such force. But in the nights of alien capitals, rulers could not sleep. They thought of Earth's silence. They thought of the vanished fleets. And in their hearts they began to feel something they had not felt for centuries. Fear. The galaxy was not ready. Their fleets were strong but divided. Their weapons were many but predictable. Their strategies were old, made for wars against each other, not against an enemy that hid in shadows and struck without mercy. One ancient seer of the Thalorian species said it best. "You do not see the storm until it is above you." Earth is that storm. They wait. Silent, patient, and when they move, the galaxy will break. And in that silence, the storm was gathering. The first strike came without warning. No broadcasts, no demands, no speeches, only silence followed by fire. It began on the edge of the Orion Arm. 3 alien empires had gathered their fleets, certain that humans were only a small threat. They brought over 500 warships, proud vessels armed with plasma lances and ion cannons. Their commanders boasted that this show of strength would end the rumors. They believed Earth would hide again once it saw their might, but Earth did not hide. The first human fleet appeared out of the void, black ships sliding from shadow like predators. Their arrival was not marked by light-speed flares or signals. They simply emerged as if they had always been there, waiting. The alien fleets moved to surround them, laughing at the small number of vessels. Only 30 human ships faced them. 30 against 500. The aliens thought the battle was already won. Then the stars themselves seemed to shift. Gravity bent around the human fleet. Invisible carriers revealed themselves, unfolding like shadows tearing apart. What looked like 30 ships became hundreds. Black hulls, sharp and silent, filled the void. Their weapons glowed faintly, cold as steel. The alien commanders gave the order to fire. Plasma lances streaked across space, beams of light cutting the dark. But the human ships moved like predators, weaving through the fire with unnatural precision. The first return strike came not with bright energy but with silence. A single pulse, barely visible, left a human battleship. A heartbeat later, an alien dreadnought cracked apart, not destroyed, broken, its metal bent, crushed inward as if the laws of physics had turned against it. The galaxy would later learn the name of this weapon: gravity cannons. Panic spread through the alien fleet. They fired wildly, but their targets kept vanishing. Human ships cloaked themselves in distortions of light, appearing and disappearing like ghosts. Some alien captains swore they were fighting empty space, only to watch their ships collapse seconds later. Within minutes, entire squadrons were gone, whole formations shattered. Human drones, small and fast, poured into the battlefield, thousands of them, each armed with weapons sharp enough to cut through shields. They struck engines, weapon mounts, command bridges. They left ships adrift, broken, helpless. The aliens screamed for reinforcements, but their signals could not escape. Human jammers wrapped the system in silence. No distress calls reached home. No one outside the battlefield even knew what was happening. One alien commander, desperate and afraid, sent his last words to his people before his ship was torn apart. They do not fight for survival. They do not fight for power. They fight as if they are reminding us of something we forgot. They fight as if they are correcting the galaxy itself. By the end of the hour, 500 ships were gone. Only a handful of survivors were allowed to escape. Some said the humans let them go on purpose. Some said the survivors were meant to spread the story. Whatever the truth, the news carried fear across the stars. The survivors described the black hulls that swallowed starlight. They spoke of weapons that bent gravity, of fleets that appeared from shadows, of humans who gave no mercy. They swore that Earth was no longer the forgotten world. It was the predator that had returned. On distant capitals, alien rulers listened to the reports. Their faces grew pale. Some shouted for immediate alliances. Others ordered the strengthening of defenses. A few whispered the terrible thought that humans might be unstoppable. But the humans did not care about alien fear. They did not answer messages. They did not explain. They only prepared for the next strike. In the solar system, commanders studied the first battle with cold eyes. They spoke in calm tones, as if 500 ships destroyed was only the beginning. They were unprepared, one general said. The next fleets will be larger. That is good. We want them to gather. We want them to bring everything. Then we will break them. And so the plan continued. For the galaxy, the first strike was a nightmare. For Earth, it was only the first step. The broken alliances, the galaxy had never been so shaken. 500 ships destroyed in one strike, entire empires silenced in a single battle. News traveled faster than light, carried by terrified survivors who swore they had faced something beyond reason. And for the first time in centuries, the great empires of the galaxy gathered not to mock, not to laugh, but to survive. A new council was called in the star city of Vera Prime. Rulers who once hated each other now sat side by side. Old enemies shared the same tables. Proud voices trembled as they argued, shouted, and demanded answers. The Dralax Emperor slammed his claw against the table. We must unite. If we fight alone, Earth will pick us apart one by one. Already my fleets are ash. The silver-eyed queen of the Theron leaned forward, her voice sharp. And who will lead this alliance, you? The same fool who ignored the warnings when the first scouts vanished? The chamber erupted in chaos. Accusations flew across the council hall. Each empire remembered old betrayals, old wars, old blood spilled between them. To trust one another now was almost impossible. Yet fear of Earth forced them to try. Slowly, a fragile agreement was made. Fleets would unite. Armies would march together. Information would be shared. For the first time in history, the galaxy would fight as one. But Earth was already prepared for this. While the council argued, human intelligence had already mapped their alliances. Spies hidden for decades among alien systems sent streams of data back to Earth. Every plan, every weakness, every argument in the Council was already known. When the first United Fleet launched, hope filled the galaxy. It was a sight of awe. Over 1,000 ships, banners of dozens of species flying together, a wall of power stretching across the stars. Propaganda spread, "Together we are stronger. Together, we will end the human threat." But Earth did not meet them in battle. Not yet. Instead, strange events began to unfold. Supplies vanished. Refueling stations exploded in fire. Command signals were intercepted and rewritten. Fleets turned on each other, confused by false orders. Entire convoys disappeared into empty space, never arriving at the front lines. At first, the empires blamed sabotage from rival allies. Old hatred resurfaced. Whispers of betrayal spread. A captain from the Zoan accused the Theran of treachery, and within days their fleets nearly fired on one another. But the truth was darker. Humans were not just warriors. They were strategists. Their invisible networks reached into every system, sowing chaos before the first shot was even fired. Then came the second strike. It happened at the edge of the Kelnor Nebula, where the United Fleet tried to establish a stronghold. They expected human ships to attack head-on, as most species would in such a war. Instead, the humans used the nebula itself. Clouds of ion storms and gas made sensors blind, and from within the storm, shadows moved. One by one, alien ships vanished into the mist. Communications broke apart. When the survivors finally understood, it was too late. Human fleets had surrounded them in silence, cutting them off, striking with precision. By the time the nebula cleared, half the fleet was gone. The galaxy was horrified. Their greatest alliance, their strongest wall of defense, had been broken like glass. But what frightened them most was not the destruction. It was the way Earth fought. The humans did not simply crush fleets, they humiliated them. Every battle was designed not only to win, but to show the galaxy how powerless they truly were. The message was clear. No matter how many allies stood together, Earth was always ahead. On Vera Prime, the Council fell into despair. The Dralax Emperor shouted for more fleets. The Theran Queen demanded better defenses. The smaller empires begged for peace, but peace was impossible. From the shadows, a human transmission finally broke the silence. Just one message sent across the stars, heard in every council, every palace, every warship. It said only this: "We are not here to conquer. We are here to correct." The galaxy froze. What did it mean? Correct what? Correct who? Fear deepened. Some rulers whispered that perhaps Earth had once ruled the galaxy, and this was not a war of expansion, but a return. Others believed the humans sought revenge for centuries of mockery and disrespect. None could agree, but all felt the same terror. Every star system watched the skies more closely. Every empire prepared for strikes they knew they could not stop. And yet deep down, they all realized a truth they did not want to speak. The war was already lost, for Earth was not fighting for territory, not fighting for treaties. Earth was fighting with a plan written long before the first alien had mocked them, and the plan was almost complete. The war without mercy. The galaxy waited for mercy. It never came. After the destruction at the Kelnor Nebula, the great fleets of the Alliance scattered like frightened prey. Some tried to regroup. Others fled to protect their home systems. But everywhere they went, the humans were already there. Earth's fleets moved like shadows across the stars. They did not conquer planets in the old way. They did not land armies or raise banners. Instead, they struck the core of every empire: communication, command, supply. With each move, civilizations collapsed from within. Entire capitals went silent overnight. Energy grids failed. Orbital defenses turned against their own cities, hacked by unseen hands. Stargates, those shining bridges between systems, were shattered by human weapons, cutting empires off from each other. In days, centuries of progress turned to dust. The galaxy screamed for surrender. Messages were sent toward Earth, begging for peace, pleading for mercy. But no answer came, only silence. The humans did not speak often, but when they did, their words carried like thunder. One final broadcast spread across the stars: "This war is not conquest. This is correction. You forgot balance. You forgot respect. You forgot fear. We remind you." The meaning tore through every empire. Leaders who once mocked Earth now bowed their heads in terror. They realized the truth too late. Earth had not been hiding because it was weak. Earth had been hiding because it was waiting, watching, learning. Old histories, long buried, came alive again. The records once dismissed as myths were true. Humanity had ruled before. Long ago they had stepped into the galaxy, fought, and then vanished back to their homeworld. No one ever understood why they withdrew. Some said it was mercy. Some said it was exhaustion. But now it was clear they had withdrawn by choice. And now they had returned to finish what they started. The galaxy faced not invaders, but its old masters. In the capital of the Theron, the Queen looked out at the burning sky as human fleets filled orbit. "They are not like us," she whispered. "We fight for power, for pride, for land. They fight for something else. Something greater." She never spoke again. Moments later, her palace was reduced to ash. The Dralax Emperor tried to flee with his fleet. He vanished into the dark between stars. Weeks later, fragments of his ships were found drifting, every crew gone. Some believed they were taken alive. No one knew where. No one wanted to. Across the galaxy, the survivors told the same story. Wherever humans came, silence followed. They did not destroy everything. They destroyed only what they chose. They left ruins that would never rise again, systems broken in ways no one could repair. It was not war. It was judgment. For the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy understood what it meant to be powerless. They had thought themselves advanced, proud, untouchable. Now, under the black hulls of human fleets, they were nothing but prey. On Earth, the Command Council remained calm. They did not celebrate. They did not cheer. To them, victory was not glory. It was necessity. One human admiral looked over the maps of fallen empires and said quietly, "They thought silence meant weakness. They were wrong. Silence was the last kindness we gave them." And then the fleets moved again. The galaxy tried to imagine an end to the war, but no one could see it. The humans did not seek peace treaties. They did not seek allies. They did not seek thrones. They only advanced, system by system, never stopping. Everywhere they went, the message remained the same. This is correction. And so the galaxy finally understood. There would be no mercy. There would be no escape. Humanity had waited in silence, and now the silence was gone. The war without mercy had begun, and there was no one left who could stop it.